Good afternoon, and I'm sorry if you were expecting me earlier, but I'm here now. And I'm also sorry to say there are no pictures or numbers, you have just me. So I hope that will do. Thank you very much for inviting me, Robin. The WI, well, where shall I begin? I think the WI plays a unique role in providing women with educational opportunities, just as we were saying, educate the women and you educate the families. Our organisation also gives the chance to build new skills as well as the opportunities to make an impact in communities, to influence local, national and often now international affairs as well. And in practice, this has meant that our environmental work has been deeply rooted in the organisation's campaigning, as well as members' collective desire to take action to protect the environment and the raising of awareness of this highly important and desperate issue. Now, our environment work goes back to 1927 when we were first discussing and worrying about the pollution of the seas. Foresight for women, I think. A WI resolution in 1954 was adopted that called for action on litter, and that led to the Keep Britain Tidy campaign, which is actually going today still. And since then, environmental resolutions have covered a diverse range of issues, from the need to prevent deforestation and to protect our wildflowers and honeybees, right down to calls for more research into renewable energy. Now, these resolutions that we passed, which become mandates, are translated into a twofold campaigning approach. We press for change from the decision makers and policy makers, and at the same time we stress the role of the individual as a change agent within their community. As a movement, the WI believes that women are uniquely placed to raise awareness of climate change, not only in their communities but in their homes as well. They are educators, they are agents of change, and they are the consumers who consume, as we were just hearing. Now, our climate change campaign has been underpinned by the WI's strong tradition of action at grassroots level, and the recognition that all women have a role to play. And the huge threat that we face from the changing climate means that the day-to-day decisions that we make about what we buy, the food we eat, our travel, how we heat our homes, they are more important than ever, and it is often the women who make those decisions. In fact, all around the world, women are on the front line of the disastrous effects of climate change. Yet too often, we say they remain shut out of domestic and international climate change debate. So the NFWI, the National Federation of Women's Institutes, is focused on enabling women to become environmental leaders in their communities. WI members have used their own lives as starting points in the knowledge that by starting with small, practical lifestyle changes, everyone can make a difference. In the last 7 years, WI members have contributed much to the ways in which recycling has become mainstream, with the specific intention of sending less to landfill and thus depreciating methane emissions. At the same time, we've waged war on unnecessary packaging, petitioning the big retailers and manufacturers in a bid yet again to produce less waste for landfill. Less use of plastic carrier bags too has also been of paramount importance, and to this day members return to the shop unnecessary packaging, especially from fruit and vegetables. However, I am pleased to say that there has been success in the areas of plastics, both wrapping and food trays, to name but a few items. More, or in fact less perhaps I should say, could be used and discarded, and less should be produced. But inroads are being made, and notice has been readily taken of the reduce, reuse, recycle mantra. I'm sure you've all heard that. And indeed, WI members are past mistresses of producing crafts from recycled and upcycled materials as well as natural materials. And only last winter we had a competition for members to produce the classic little black dress in such a manner. And with the return of the waste not want not era, every dress was produced to a superb standard, one made from old videotape, another from sheep and alpaca wool collected from the hedgerows. We had plastic bags, of course, everything you could think of. And with that came a subliminal message, really, regarding climate change. We don't need to keep buying new all the time. Excessive emissions of carbon dioxide have been spoken of for years. The effects of too much carbon, and of course latterly the 100 months to meltdown, that has all been in the WI psyche. Adherence to Agenda 21 was a mandate that the organisation adopted in 1992, and this blueprint was used for the building of an office in Cambridgeshire, where I was, in 2003. Grey water system, photovoltaic cells, to name but two green innovations, and many more were fought for, and I say fought because the planners did not understand and the builders didn't know how to build. We got over that, and we do have a superb award-winning office. But WI members too have built houses along the same lines, not always an easy job. And our own college in Oxford, the WI College, Denman College, when we undertook a building programme in 2008, it was with great surprise that the whole building team realised we wanted ground source heat. But we got it. We have to stick to it. This carbon, of course, it's a challenge to us all, a challenge to use less. But use less we did when we took up our WI Carbon Challenge. Through our membership magazine, we introduced our members to gradual changes to the way they lived and explained how small changes could make a lot of difference to the amount of carbon that they used, from small steps to giant leaps, if you like. And we had one of the first carbon calculators online, and we invited and challenged the general public to make use of it too. Well, we got over 10,000 of our own members using that, and they changed their lifestyle successfully, and they cut their CO2 emissions by 20%. And this was worked out as saving 19,000 tonnes of carbon dioxide, which is the equivalent of driving around the Earth 2,300 times. And that was just the 10,000 members. We don't know quite what the general public did, but they certainly saved a lot too. Now, the cascading mechanism is something that the WI makes a great deal of use of. And this was true of our eco-teams. And that was a group of 8 members meeting over a 4-month period to discuss ranges of issues which included how to reduce water, energy use in the home, sourcing and using of food, as well as environmentally friendly transport. From the discussions, they took action to reduce in every area and to measure the savings, both literally and in monetary value. And by working together, they did actually see how small changes made by each one of them did add up to a big difference. And the way we cascade this, each one of those 8 participants then became a leader of another team, and in fact, that is going on to this very day. So not only does it involve 8 individuals, it involves their family, their wider community. We need to quantify it, but there's a good many thousand out there doing it. We've also made a short, again, award-winning film. We called it A World Without Jam, and it showed what might happen in 20 years' time if we go on using our resources as we do. That was 17 years ago now, because you can actually see it on our website. Interesting. Moving on to food and cooking, they are synonymous with the WI, we're renowned, if you might say. So it was and is natural that food waste should be another big interest to us. Of course, food waste is another source of methane and depletion of the world's resources. So it was the WI who came up with the slogan, "Love food, hate waste," when it was launching yet another project, and this time we did it with RAP, working together for a world free of waste. Again, with the cascading influence, Love Food Champions headed up groups of 8 to 10 people who through a series of sessions pledged to cut their own food waste while raising awareness of the impact that our throwaway culture has on the environment. And over the time of the project, members successfully halved the amount of food that they threw away, they learned new skills, and they even celebrated with a leftovers banquet. So 3 years on, Love Food groups are still making shopping lists and cooking up new recipes from what they have in their cupboards. Use it, learn to store it, and don't overbuy. All these small actions demonstrate the impact that ordinary people can have both in their own lives and by using their actions as a catalyst to inspire broader changes within their communities. In all, we as individuals exercise choice. But these thousands of small actions combined also help create the pressure and political space for change at a governmental level. On a national scale, this critical mass of women raising awareness and pushing for change has created a powerful message to political leaders. While we know that this hasn't had the impact that's needed, I am a firm believer that it's important to demonstrate local leadership, which inspires others and provides politicians with the mandate they need to bring about national action. Our If We Can Do It, So Can You mandate, launched in 2009, sought to harness this momentum and successfully push the issue of women in climate change onto the political agenda. Thousands of WI members sent in their personal experiences and views on postcards, and we presented them to the Secretary of State for Environment and Climate Change. And in that, mostly we called for gender to be central to the climate change talks in Copenhagen. If we can make the changes in our life, government, you can make it not only in your life but in your policies. And this we still urge them to do. From 2006 right up to the Copenhagen summit, the WI talked with Secretaries of State and Ministers. 2 Prime Ministers invited us to sit at the Cabinet table at number 10. They heard exactly what we were thinking and what we wanted. And we could tell them that when your home is likely to flood but you haven't heard the town alert because you're miles away from the nearest town, and how do you cope with elderly relatives, children and an ill member of the family? This was what we were able to tell them because we met some Bangladeshi women who had gone through just that, and this all came through our Women Reaching Women project. Another woman in Uganda that I got to know walks at least 7 miles a day to find a meagre food supply and not much water to feed her family. Her name is Martina. She is a real woman who suffers from the effect of the changed climate right now. These women are our sisters across the planet, and when we experience dramatic floods in this country, well, women understand. As part of the Stop Climate Chaos Coalition, WI members stood shoulder to shoulder with 40,000 others at the UK's biggest climate march in December 2009. And as a founder member of Stop Climate Chaos, the WI has been right at the heart of the broad coalition of charities, faith group, NGOs and that, united in calling for strong international action to climate change. In 1977 we had a mandate which instructed us to lobby the government for looking into renewable sources of energy. And in November last year I did go to Germany to look at their sources, wind farms, Archimedes screws, all kinds of things, with a view to putting it to our country to have community energy schemes. A long way to go because there is a lot of opposition, but with our mandate we can work on that. But some things you have to go gradually because some of our members are very much opposed to it, although we do have a mandate. Climate change actually poses a very great challenge for every one of us. Yet it also gives an opportunity for every one of us to be environmental leaders in our own lives. We hear a lot about the revolution in thinking, a fundamental shift in approach that is needed. And while I've argued the decisions we take as individuals can have a major collective impact, we also need to recognise that consumers need the right information information to make good choices in the first place. And these choices need to be within the reach of everyone, not just the wealthiest consumers. We have a campaign on nutritional labelling, and as it's shown, customers do make the right choices when they're given the right information. For 2 years now, the NFWI has been lobbying retailers and decision makers in Europe to introduce clearer origin labelling. A strong part of the motivation behind this stems from the desire to be able to make informed choices. Knowing where food is from can give information about whether it's produced in season and the food miles that it entails, and information that's essential to make clear and accurate choices and then to make the sustainable option. Yet despite some good examples that do help consumers make responsible purchasing decisions, for example around waste and recycling, we've a long way from consistently providing accessible information on the environmental impacts of products, and all too often sustainable and low carbon choices remain the more expensive, hard to find option. Of course, when all is said and done, it does come down to us, to you and to me, not only WI members, but every member of the human race. The choices we make today will affect people like you and me in years to come. The choices people made in years gone by affect us, you and me, today. Alongside the scientific consensus that human-induced climate change is here and now, there surely has to be a deeper dimension which makes us sit up and take notice. Care for our fellow men and women wherever they live. Care for them and their environment both now and in the future. So every one of us can make an effective difference by starting to change our everyday lives and forging links like we are doing today. We can continue to spread the word. We can demonstrate the will and action to create the critical mass movement that is needed if we are to win the battle against climate change. It's your choice. Thank you.
Transformation of the WI into a sort of environmental campaigning group is quite wonderful to behold. How far are you prepared to go? I mean, are you going to institute things like consumer boycotts of firms that do not practice sustainable development, for example?
No, we don't go in for boycotts. No, we can't. As for campaigning, we've always done it, but we've been doing it much more quietly than we've had to in the last decade. In fact, campaign was not a word in the WI vocabulary until about 2002. It was always the quiet lobbying. But of course, there's a lot of people out there trying to get their voices heard, so you have to shout loudest. And you have to do stunts. That's what we found works.
The reason I ask is that when I was involved in the campaign to get lead out of petrol, the moment I thought we won that campaign was when the WI decided to support us.
Well, that's very good.
Ruth, can I ask you, is the WI a growing membership?
Yes, we are at the moment, yes. We dipped in the 70s, basically when women started to go to work more often. But at the moment we're on the up. We've got about 1,000 new members every week and counting. Yes. And there's plenty in London if you want to join. Not you, I'm sorry, we could just invite you as a guest. But
Thank you, I appreciate the recognition. And is membership relatively easy for you? I mean, how do you do it? Is it just by word of mouth and network?
Well, it seems to be at the moment. Yes, we're just inundated with calls in the head office, yes. But it all happens in the different areas. In the counties, that's where it really happens. But we do have 43 WI